Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a letter from a fan. Dearest Anthony, first off, I would like to say I'm a huge fan of your reviews and you are my favorite YouTuber. I appreciate how you truly are the busiest and you really do a lot to cover so many bands I like. You're welcome. And thank you. The reason I am writing you is because I am in a very dark place right now. My most recent relationship has ended horribly. In other words, I was left by someone I was very, very close to. This has been something extremely hard for me to cope with, but music is something that has always helped me through struggles in the past. So, Anthony, do you think you could suggest a good album or two with post-breakup emotional devastation? I would greatly appreciate it. Heartbroken in Ohio. Kay. Dear Kay, first off, I'm really sorry to hear about your relationship ending. I hope you're able to get through it. It's going to take time for these emotional wounds to heal, and then afterwards it's going to take a reassessment of who you are as a person and what you're going to want out of relationships into the future. For right now, I would say just have faith in the process of self-exploration and self-betterment to not only find out what you need out of a relationship into the future, but also find the strength to carry on and love yourself. And in the process of doing this, music can be a really big help. A lot of people, after a breakup, they decide to listen to what many categorize as breakup albums, a lot of which are tagged with that breakup tag because there's either some well-documented or inside information that the artist creating the album was going through a breakup of some sort over the course of the writing of the album or the songs on the album, or went through a breakup immediately after or during the release or something. LPs like Beck's Sea Change and what I believe is the last Abba album, or even Fleetwood Mac's Rumors or Bob Dylan's Blood on the Tracks, even the Marvin Gaye LP, Here My Dear. And then again, there are people who, don't really care about whatever the backstory is behind the album. They just want that subject matter, that breakup, love loss subject matter to just be up in front and in their face so that they can sympathize, they can empathize, they can just feel camaraderie with the story that's being told in the music. And there are numerous records that do this, some of my personal favorites as of late being like PJ Harvey's Rid of Me or the last Fiona Apple album, any number of Bright Eyes LPs, but especially Lifted. A lot of people prefer Elliott Smith's Either Or, and I'm actually really, really partial to Mountain Goat's albums like Get Lonely, as well as Tallahassee. Or even the Montreal album, A Bedside Drama, which I think is a criminally overlooked breakup album. It's sort of like a cute, bittersweet, vaudevillian concept album about the course of a relationship that's sort of doomed from the start, beginning and then finally ending. But for me personally, I don't necessarily need a story there that I relate to, or I don't need to know that the artist on the record has been going through a breakup in order to actually have the music help me through some kind of emotional trial I may be going through. I mean, I prefer just to listen to sad, slow, or somber music on this kind of occasion. And I mean, there are any number of instrumental rock or instrumental electronic, instrumental whatever albums that fit this bill. Experiment with listening to artists like Godspeed or Tim Hecker, or other artists that may have vocals but very powerful instrumentals as well, like Sigur Rós. And why couldn't a Sun album be the soundtrack to your post-relationship despair? Or Joy Division, or depressive black metal, or the sort of emotional, jangly pop music of the Smiths. I personally have more of a strong, passionate, emotional reaction to sounds, melodies, and chord progressions than I do simply lyrics. And I think a lot of people are that same way too. I mean, how else could you explain the fact that so many misinterpret the song I Will Always Love You as a love song when it is in fact, when you read deeper into the lyrics, a breakup song? So sure, the message, the backstory can be really important, but I think the sound is just as important, if not more important. For example, I could be going through a breakup and you could put on some Taylor Swift, who actually has a ton of songs about love on the rocks and breakups, but that may not be the sound that I want to hear or will actually bring me comfort. And then again, there's tons of emo and screamo bands out there that you could listen to that perfectly depict the emotional state of despair, but maybe a lot of people don't want some dude whining or screaming in their ear for 30 or 40 minutes at a time. Just remember that for the most part, the sounds, everything that you're listening to is very, very, very open to interpretation. I mean, there are any number of albums out there that I think could be that shoulder to cry on. Thank you for writing. Transition, if you care to, head down there in the comments on this video and post what you feel is your favorite breakup album, either to listen to now because you're fresh out of a breakup, or an album that helped you through that same sort of ordeal in the past. Cool? Cool. Letters, breakups, breakup albums, forever.